What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Big 12 Newsletter Houston edition. I'm your host, Garrett Ross. Make sure you go over to 365sports.video where you can sign up for the newsletter, and we'll have this in your inbox every Wednesday around noon, depending on which time zone you're in. But we'll have that there for you. You have an article, and you'll have a video for each team representing the Big 12. And make sure you go like, subscribe, sign up as we continue to grow this and give you the best coverage for the conference in the nation. Man, if you're a Houston fan, last week we discussed this game going in against Baylor, how I felt that if the Bears got a lead, that Houston could be in trouble. And looking at this game, I think Houston did everything they needed to jump out and set the tone against Baylor early on. The second play of the game, the defense really kind of imposed their will. You knocked out Bryson Washington, the star running back for Baylor. He never came back in the game. And then from that point on, you just kind of put your foot on their neck. And it was one of those where I knew Houston could probably get the win, but I just felt uncomfortable. I've seen Baylor so many times where they were able to just sneak out situations like that, and they almost did. If you go and look at the fourth quarter, man, this is where I was talking about, where if the fourth quarter was reversed in this game, I think Baylor wins. Baylor comes out, they score 15 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, and it takes a miraculous drive at the end of the game with a little over a minute left for Houston to cap off the win. And that also took an pass interference call against Devin Bobby. That took Conner Weigman just really being miraculous with his legs and ultimately getting you into position where you could punch it in with Dean Connors and get the win 31-24. But man, if that was flipped, I really think Houston could have been in trouble. But at the end of the day, I think the defense played lights out. You forced 2 turnovers against Baylor, which they've struggled with turnovers as of late. Sawyer Robertson has just not looked like himself at all. I'm really going to be interested to see how he's viewed in the NFL draft. But regardless, like, you were able to force turnovers. You picked Sawyer off. You had another fumble that you were able to come up with. And it was really just imposing your will at that point. And Conner Weigman led the way. I mean, it was one of those instances where you're coming into this, and if you've watched both of these teams all year, you knew Conner Weigman was the perfect quarterback to just kind of violate Baylor because they have no way to stop the run. I think if Conner was more efficient at passing, this could have been really ugly. But his inability to be efficient in the passing game and then to build consistency kind of made it one-dimensional. And Weigman was really all they had. I think Dean Connors did okay. I thought he could have had a better day at this situation, given the matchup. I thought his skill set was something that he could have taken advantage of, but hats off to Baylor. I think they did a good job defensively, kind of taking away the run and knowing that if we don't stop that, there's no hope. So their defense did play well. I'll give them credit there. But Conner Weigman went off, and that's kind of what you expected looking at this. He rushed for threw for over 200 yards and a touchdown. Then he ran for over 100, and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. And Baylor just couldn't stop him. And ultimately, he was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. His 10-plus rushing touchdowns this season puts him up there with De'Aaron King going back to 2018, the first Houston quarterback to do that since 1956, which is really ridiculous when you think about the talent that's come through there. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards this season. Just really impressive what Conner Weigman has been able to do. And the fact that you're going to be able to get him back next year is going to be really good. I'm interested to see the type of talent you can put around him. I think you've really got to address that this season in the transfer portal. I think finding some quality running backs to put behind him, more than just one guy that you can rely on. I know injuries really just kind of riddled that unit this season. So that's one of those things where it just glass half full type things. Hopefully you can get some of those guys back. But at the end of the day, you need more talent back there. I think they're going to be able to get that. I'm interested to see how you approach the wide receiver core and how you bring the talent in there because outside of Amari Thomas, you really didn't have the consistency there to really do anything. Tanner Koziel was solid. I mean, he didn't have like a breakout game. I was expecting more from him against Baylor, honestly. I thought the middle of the field, I was there. The middle of the field was open all game long. I was surprised they didn't really pass to him and attack it as often as they did. I thought there was more left on the bone there, per se, for that aspect of it. But regardless, I think Houston did an excellent job. You were 6-0 on the road, which you're the only FBS program to do that this season. That is really remarkable. And I know a lot of people could probably poke holes in that and say favorable schedule or whatever, but I don't give a damn. Like I don't care what you're playing. Like going on the road and winning undefeated 6 games is ridiculous. So that's really impressive for them. And now you're looking at a situation where you can go win 10 games. All you got to do is win the bowl game. And if you're looking at the bowl projections right now and where people are seeing Houston, all indications are you're going to play in the Texas Bowl against UTSA, which I think would be great. I mean, you don't have to leave the city. You're right down the road. Let the road runners come in there. I mean, I think Jeff Traylor is an excellent coach. I think what he's been able to do at UTSA is really remarkable, but they're just not on par with you. And that's one where you feel pretty confident with them coming right down the road to your city. You should be able to get that win there. So I think that would be an awesome matchup. I think it would be great for the state. I think it would be great for recruiting in general. But I also think that if you're Houston, that's one you want. You're licking your chops if you see the Roadrunners over there and you're thinking, damn, 10-win seasons right here. We can go and get that. And the sky's the limit from this point, because now all you got to do is just continue to build on this. And I think that you're going to be able to do that. Looking with signing day coming up this week, the Cougs right now, according to On3, have the 7th ranked recruiting class for the 2026 cycle. Texas Tech obviously leads the way, then followed by BYU. I think going forward, that's probably what you're going to see there. I think given the bags that those two programs have, it's going to be pretty commonplace to see them swapping in and out each year as 1 to 2 if things stay status quo the way they are right now in college football. But after that, West Virginia, which is weird, but hats off to Rich Rod up there. TCU, Utah, Baylor, who is taking a hit. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see this class drop even further over the next 24 hours. That's something to monitor there. They lost 2 blue chips that really put a dent in them, and there's some other guys probably on the fence right now. Going over to 247, they have Houston ranked right now as 5th in the recruiting class coming in. Like this, the same over there. Tech number 1, BYU, Arizona, West Virginia, and then the Cougs. But I mean, you got to feel really good right now if you're Houston and how you're rolling. Looking at this, I mean, Kayshawn Henderson is obviously your number 1 bread and butter, 5-star, just absolutely ridiculous quarterback that you're getting right there. And you got to feel really good if you're Sean Bell. I mean, if people aren't familiar with the situation, he had Austin Novosad locked in at Baylor, and they had everything on the table for him to come in and be the guy. And literally, Oregon bought him in the night before signing day. Big blow to that class, and they never really recovered. And ultimately, Sean Bell never really recovered from that. That sucked, honestly. So for him to have an opportunity to come on and land a guy like Kayshawn Henderson is really impressive. I feel really good for him. But also, I mean, a lot of credit to that goes to Michael Bishop, his head coach, the relationship going back there with Willie Fritz, when he was Fritz's quarterback at Blinn. That just goes to show the type of character and the type of relationship guy that Willie Fritz is and the impact he has on people, man. For him to be able to hold that type of relationship and come full circle with Michael Bishop and be able to land Keyshawn Henderson is something really special here. Also looking at this class right now, you have Paris Melvin coming in. He is a 4-star. He's an athlete. You're looking at another 4-star here in John Hubert, a running back out of straight Jesuit. And then kind of going into your 3-star categories with Javion Martin, Caleb Walker, Kaven Roberts, and so on. But Houston's got a pretty good class here. And they're also in the situation where it really benefits them too, having this success, but coming back in the Big 12, where you're in the biggest recruiting hotbed in the nation, arguably. And you're able to kind of get these guys who want to come back home. So not only with recruiting coming up and signing day around the corner, but the transfer portal, and with the coaching changes, I expect a lot of guys to hit the portal this season. So watching how Willie Fritz and this staff really navigate not only this class, but how do you attack the portal? What are your priorities? And kind of keeping an eye on that to see what you can build on to continue the success of this season. It's going to be really remarkable. But, man, you got to feel really good right now if you're a Houston fan. 2 years in, and you're knocking on a 10-win season. Nobody would have told, like, nobody was expecting this coming into the season. I think we all knew Willie Fritz could make a jump. I think we knew this program could take a step in the right direction, but this is just unreal. And like I said, a lot of this goes to scheduling and everything, but you got to play who's lined up against you. Willie and Houston went out and took care of business, and that's all you can ask for. I'm excited to see where this program goes. I really am thinking that they can win 10. I expect them to be matched up with UTSA. Like I said, things could change there. They could end up in the Alamo Bowl. But all indications right now are leaning that you're going to be playing in the Texas Bowl against UTSA. But we will see how that goes. Keep an eye on signing day as the Cougs try to lock this class in, and just keep the momentum going. And the basketball team is coming off of the Las Vegas trip. It went pretty well for them. They'll be back in action this week as well. Kelvin Sampson has them rolling, but a lot of great things going on at H-Town right now. Make sure you go over to 365sports.video where you can sign up for this newsletter. Like I mentioned, we'll have this in your inbox every Wednesday morning. But until next time, I'm Garrett Ross. And this has been the Big 12 Newsletter Houston edition.